Hi everyone, this is part two of our conversation with Maiden Forgings and its MD, Mr. Nishant Garg. There was so much valuable content, so we decided to put it into two parts for you guys. This is really where we talk about the MSME sector of India and its appeal to the government. We talk about the differences between two generation of entrepreneurs and how Nishant, being in that place, he navigated through those differences, what he understood about it. Also, we talk about the vulnerable, the less discussed side of an entrepreneur. So have a good time watching this episode. To the industry, I actually want to talk to you about this MSME industry. Being one in the space, what are the challenges that you see, especially in India, and are there any suggestions you'd like to give, especially to the government for the additional support that they can provide for the SME? Because now everyone knows we need to work on our MSME sector if we want to grow, like how China did few years back, right? If you want that kind of growth. So what are the suggestions from your side? Firstly, what are the challenges that you see in the industry in India currently? And if there are any suggestions from your side?
So obviously the MSMEs are the weaker section in that. So government needs to handhold them somewhere. They are making efforts, but the the pace of it at which the entire
Decisions
India
have
is
to be taken.
growing. So the handholding procedure should also get faster in accordance with that pace. You know what I'm trying to say. So that has to be faster. So I'm not saying that they should give you certain kind of subsidies or anything. I'm not talking about that. I'm just telling that like example, I'll take a little example that right now B2B commerce is changing the face how markets will operate in future. For example, back in 2000s, early 2000s, you were buying your products from shops. The malls were coming up in India actually. ठीक है, फिर आप शॉप से मॉल्स पे जाना शुरू हुए और आज की डेट में आप 50% 60% शॉपिंग अपनी ऑनलाइन करते हैं, राइट? Same thing is happening in B2B gradually. Right. So it is changing. अब होगा क्या अगर MSMEs, क्योंकि right now also for an MSME, let's forget MSME, let's just come to the SME part. I mean medium को छोड़ देते हैं, small and micro पे आ जाते हैं. कि स्मॉल एंड माइक्रो के लिए स्टिल अगर उसको कुछ डिजिटलाइजेशन करना है तो उसको समझाना पहली चीज, तो चलो कहते हैं समझ भी गए. स्टिल द अफोर्डेबिलिटी पार्ट, आज उसके लिए स्टिल ही विल थिंक 10 times before investing in that process. So अगर वो उस B2B कॉमर्स वाला जो वो पूरा इकोसिस्टम चेंज हो रहा है ग्रेजुअली, इट इज happening behind the screens and we are not able to see it, but 10 years down the line when the industrial buying would also be happening through B2B portals, then the MSMEs will realize somewhere that we were not able to see it and we didn't become a part of it. That's why our sales are dropping somewhere, or we are not able to grow at that kind of pace. So there have to be systems and networks that provide from the side of government, that provide such platforms to SMEs so that they can join this evolution easily. They can be part of the global ecosystem. So that kind of handholding I'm talking about, that is one part. Then secondly, if you have to export your products to global stage, I remember when we were doing 26-50 crores kind of sale, it used to look like, okay, I have to go to Germany, it will cost me around, a trip will cost, even if I do at the lowest prices, it will cost me around 2.53 lakhs. But I have tentative meetings set up. I don't know whether I would be able to bring that kind of profit to company or not. SME always thinks like that. So government, what China did at that point, I'll tell you, any global exhibition you visit, okay, China government buys entire pavilion for them, and then give it to certain players of that industry, the local Chinese industries. They used to give those stalls at a such a rate. If the value of stall was say 2 lakh rupees in Indian currency, they will give them to 20,000 rupees. Okay, and 10, 12 companies for 20, 30 companies of China will exhibit in say Germany or US for 1/10 the cost. Okay, they will directly go, and what will happen? Since they will meet the people over there and promote the products, ultimately the subsidy or the benefits that the government gave, that was for promotion, and the business comes to China.
Yeah.
So that kind of ecosystems are still lacking. Indian government provides subsidy to SMEs on exhibitions abroad, but the procedures are still so tedious, and SME would for once invest that amount, and then they are not certain that we will get the subsidy or not. That kind of things happen. But in China, it was direct. Let you pay only 1/10 and go to exhibit your products. So that kind of cooperation is needed somewhere. These are just one, two examples. But I will suggest that government needs to work faster on that. Otherwise, for this decade, at least the coming decade, which is most profitable, which is expected to be most profitable for Indian economy, in that the SMEs will definitely lack somewhere.
Yeah. And SMEs are important because most of the population that could be working for those SMEs, वो हमारी इंडिया में है अभी. So we need that population to work, and SMEs are the ones that would employ them.
Definitely, larger corporations have automized most of their processes. They wouldn't be able to, involve that much workforce, the growing population of India. It's the MSME sector that is going to employ them.
Yeah, 100%. Fair. So faster work, more subsidies, more thinking, more investment has to go into this SME from the government.
Correct.
Fair. Going forward, I want to ask you a very personal question. This is a bit personal. जब आपने business join किया and your father was already there, generally India में ये मैंने conversations देखी है where the younger generations, जो second या third generation of entrepreneurs होते हैं, वो उनके generally complaints रहते हैं कि उनके जो heads हैं family के जो business start किया है जिन्होंने, they don't let them introduce creativity or some new kind of innovation, and that's fair क्योंकि they've done their business in certain way, and then somebody new comes in कि we want to change the method a bit. That can be little frictional. आपके साथ वो हुआ निशांत?
See, first of all, I was lucky enough. My father was also a person who would always look ahead. Okay. Obviously, for first 3-4 years, that much freedom was not given. Okay, but we always had a healthy discussion when we were sitting together. It was not like that I have to do this and he will say no, you can't do it. Okay, that was never the case. We always used to have discussion, and he used to say always that we will discuss in one thing. Either I will get convinced or you will get convinced. One of us have to be convinced because we are both people with rational minds, right? So there was a healthy discussion. Okay, sometimes what used to happen that I would disagree. No, I am not agreeing to this particular point that we should do this. He will say, okay, let me just do it. And sometimes it was vice versa, that I will say I want to do it and he will disagree. The point was that was the biggest learning actually somewhere, how decisions are taken and then proven right or wrong.
Yeah.
If I am so there used to be a challenge that okay, I have said my father that this time we should go with my decision and let's take it and it will be right. And over the time, actually, what used to happen that I was doing things to prove it right. So we never had friction that usually occur in generational businesses. So I have heard a lot, because both the generations, because since last 1 year I have been working independently. So and and I have achieved certain criteria that are still not accessible to SME businesses, right?
Right.
So what happens is both father and son would be discussing with me that how we can do this. This is the problem I am facing with my father, or father is saying about the son. So that is very common, but fortunately, I didn't have that much friction ever, because my father also was very forward looking and he wanted to succeed in a faster manner, and same goes for me. So there was somewhere not that kind of generation gap that usually comes in. So there was never, I would admit that. So but that being said, there is a way in business. In business you can't go like in childhood, in college days, or in school days. You might have a fight with a person directly, you have arguments and all, but in business you have to be diplomatic somewhere. Even see, he was my father, but being father and son also, we knew that there are certain boundaries of business, certain mannerism. You can't fight like you are sitting at your home with each other, and you have to be diplomatic and rational while you are talking business, because ultimately the goal of both is to succeed,
Yeah.
to make the business successful. So that we had at top of our mind, that both are wanting the same result, only the ways are different. So we were always discussing about those things. And the generation gaps come in usually, what I found that they usually come in when one of the person, either the younger generation or the older generation, gets impatient. You have to maintain the diplomacy and the decorum in business.
Rightly, that was actually great insight. Moving forward about, you mentioned a lot about tech upgradation, about innovation, about automation. So I want to talk to you about two things. If any industry in the world right now has to talk about these two things in their product, in their company. One is the tech upgradation, and second is the sustainability. Is your business sustainable? Is your product sustainable? Is it going to help the ecosystem of the world or not? These are the questions that are coming up. As a company, as somebody running a fairly successful business, how do you take these two aspects in your company?
See, definitely there is sustainability, and I will say not tech upgradation, but overall innovation.
Yeah.
These are the two things, that as a, MD of the company, I have to keep in mind both the things. As far as sustainability is concerned, see, I believe there are, in startups, there are lots of startups who create a demand for something, then they cater to that demand. For example, Zomato and Swiggy. Earlier, people just calling the restaurant, they were delivering to us. There was, as a human, we never felt the need for that thing, but they created the need and now they are catering to it, right? But I am into a commodity business. Steel, wood is a commodity which will always be required by human race, right?
Yeah.
Steel can't be, I mean, in 100 200 years it can't be replaced by something else, at least for 100 years. So when you are in commodity, uh, the product is sustainable. One part is clear, that you are in commodity, this will be always required by people. So product sustainability is there. But business, I'm not understand. One is product sustainability and another is business sustainability. Obviously, if you are into commodity, the margins will reduce day by day and the business will become more and more unsustainable. You can't work on lower margins every day, right? So that's where we have to mix innovation with it. And innovation, when I say innovation and tech upgradation, it is not just in the product. It is like, if you see my 12 years journey, I added on with 6 product lines. So that was somewhere innovation, though it was commodity. Then I went for better value addition products, and forward integration till reaching the B2C markets, of course, to increase the margins on there and to expand my horizon, company's horizon. So that kind of innovation firstly. Then what can we do in a commodity that is required by general people, general human consumer? What innovation we can do wherein it becomes more not just sustainable but a growth oriented company. So there is a lot of scope. That's my personal belief, and that I am applying to my business. I believe still the supply chains are working on the pattern they were working 10, 20 years back. Entire supply chain. So supply chain innovation is something that I am very much focused on. One is product innovation. We are innovating the product as per the consumer needs, and upgrading by vertical and horizontal integrations. And second part is there is lots to be done in supply chain innovation, which will increase the margin and make your business model somewhere unbeatable in the future. I mean, next to impossible to beat that business model. So that is the kind of innovation I'm talking about. For example, like I earlier said, that SMEs are not becoming part of B2B commerce industry as on the moment. So right now I am selling, I have sales team of 10, 12 people who are going to the customer, building network. We are going through exhibitions and all. These are all the traditional methods. Now, if I create an edge that I have a B2B commerce platform, which is widely, accepted by the B2B consumers. So once I have that along with my commodities, then what will happen if a person can click a button on his screen and purchase his raw materials from me? I think like a marketplace, but specifically for your own company, let's say, or through related items. So, for example, auto industry buys multiple plastic products as their raw material. Some buy steel products. So the component is made out of 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of raw materials. One product is formed, right? If they can buy it out at a single place online, okay, that would become a much more easier task, cost effective task, right? So what we are doing, we are just doing supply chain innovation, right? So I think that not just, so that will automatically increase your margins in the future. That will also expand your markets in the future. Your platform will become a tool to increase your market. So at the same time, reducing the marketing cost for you, and for the customer, reducing the purchasing costs. So it's a win situation. So that's what I am talking about when I say supply chain innovation. So this is one of the method that I have. And if we could, from point, like say from scrap where the steel is manufactured and till the time it reaches the final consumer, if we can modify that entire supply chain to save costs and use the digital tech to optimize that supply chain, that would be different kind of results entirely. So that kind of innovation I feel, and that will give, we will be innovating and at the time ensuring the sustainability. So
Actually, glad that you mentioned supply chain innovation. I think that's been the center of conversation for very recently. After AI has come in, supply chain has become one of the center for conversation around it. I think AI will definitely help a lot in that. It's already there's so many already tools out there, and experimentation to chali raha hai. So yeah, 100% agreed. I just have one, sorry, before we wrap up this interview, I just have, one question to you. Has there been any, point in your business when you were doing business, or you still are, but any point that has changed your perception about business or given you a new lesson about business? Has there been any story?
I think I will say post COVID, like let's say COVID lockdown happened till say July 2020 or August 2020, right? When there was COVID time, we are manufacturers, right? So every manufacturer had to face certain fixed costs for those 3-4 months, whether
Yeah.
they can afford or not, but they had to. Many businesses shut down. Okay,
Yeah.
we were lucky enough that we grew after that. Okay, so and then a cycle came in for 1.5 years that was very lucrative for our industry post COVID. I'm talking about. So 20, let's say, uh, till the end of 2021. From mid 2020 till end of 2021, that was a very lucrative cycle for steel industry. Every
Okay.
steel player, let's say. So that was a time. And we also coped up very fast. Like by December 2020, we were very confident, okay, whatever losses have been made, we will cover them up, no problem. Because see, a startup is different ecosystem and manufacturing is a slightly different ecosystem. We have to see profit and loss for each and every quarter, right? So uh, we were confident. So what happened was my workload reduced. We have something in our mind that when we have pressure, we will work more.
Yeah.
Okay. And when the pressure goes off, there are some people who enjoy that time. I get tensed in that time. I have it. Something, maybe I'm a workaholic. So that is there that when work pressure reduces, I started to get bored and I find for something new thing. And there was a point of time when I felt like, in personal life as well as like that. So I felt like, why I am here. It happens to I think you said
Existential
you were born in
crisis.
you were born in 1999, right?
Yes.
So I think when you will reach around 30, 31, I mean, cross the 30s, 20s is over kind of time. Okay. You will, if you have, you have a nice car, nice home, nice business, everything is there. Okay. So, I was feeling for like, say, 1 month, 2 months time, I was feeling like, why am I doing this and why am I here? I
Are you
had
like
no
sorry?
idea.
Are you like talking about the existential crisis?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, existential crisis, you can say, in terms of like, I'm doing this, but at 30, you feel your half life is done. Okay, half is
Yeah.
remaining. So you feel like that, and you will be having. So I was thinking, why am I doing it? To earn money, but what is the goal of life?
Yeah.
Right? Then this year in January only, when I was too busy with my IPO, my first like baby boy was born. So
Congratulations.
thank you. My first kid was born. Then I get to learn, like, whenever I am seeing him, so I feel कि यार ठीक है, he is a baby. वही वाली बात की बहुत मोटिवेशनल जगहों पे आप पढ़ोगे कि बेबीज जो होते हैं, they are fearless and they have normal जो human behavior होना चाहिए वो होता है उनका.
Hmm.
We change with time from the
Yeah.
situation and everything, like what we are taught and everything. So we change, but that is the basic human behavior. So what I felt was, during this IPO time and from that time, let's say 2022 beginning, last year entirely. So lots of things happened, and I was like, why am I doing this? What has to be done next? So that's where, I even read Gita entirely, Bhagavad Gita. So I read that.
Nice.
So actually, what I discovered was that, ultimately, this is one thing is, you are sent here for a purpose and you have to identify that. And obviously how you identify that, I felt during this 10, 11, 12 years journey, when I am busy, I am feel happy. I don't feel stressed. A little stressed, that is good. Okay, but I feel happy doing it. And now I have to make bigger goals because I have been gifted with few abilities. Okay, and this would be the ultimate goal. Like I said, I have a few of my idols whose biography and everything I read. They were Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller. that is the iron and steel and oil baron from the 1800s. So both of them, the Warren Buffett, this giving pledge that started Warren Buffett and Bill Gates started it. That concept came actually from them back in 1800s. Okay, so they
Okay.
became okay. So I felt that okay, this is the end goal because you have a good house, you have a good car, you don't need to, you can just enjoy life. And but I was not getting enjoyment even in enjoying the life. So you have to be you have a purpose, you are gifted with abilities for that, so you leverage them to the best and make your right now I am doing this for this is my calling and I am doing it for that, so I enjoy that a lot. And at the end, so I have to make bigger goals which are beyond my reach actually, which I think are beyond my reach, and I will be working for them, and that would be my life. So that's the biggest lesson I kind of learned in last 1.5 years of my journey, and that is that I have to, I have to just keep working for that goal. I don't know whether I'll achieve it or not. It should be so big that I don't know that I would be exactly able to achieve it or not, but I will try. That's the journey.
Understood. That makes sense. I'll be waiting for myself to turn 30 to, of course, realize my purpose.
Don't wait. Just keep on trying. It will come automatically.
Really keep on trying what?
Whatever you like, I mean, whatever you are doing and whatever is your goal, just keep on working. That crisis will come sooner or later at some point. Automatically it will come, and the solution will also come along.
Oh,
In some.
okay. But I hope, that crisis for me doesn't last long. I generally tend to overthink a lot. So, for overthinkers, it could backfire also.
That could backfire also. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
yeah, yeah.
overthinkers, that could
Yeah,
backfire.
I
Luckily,
wouldn't want that
luckily, I never overthink.
but no, lucky you got through that, and glad that you mentioned it. I'm especially इसलिए भी glad because this brings a vulnerable side of you as well to the audience, and being in that space, being in that leadership position, you're allowed to be vulnerable. So thanks for bringing that. I'm really glad you talked about. Understood. On that sweet note, we'll wrap up this conversation. Thank you so much, Nishant, for doing this with us. We wish you all the best for your company. Hope it reaches the
And
heights and hope you
you have
achieve the
been a
big
great,
dreams.
you have been a great host.
Oh,
I'm
lovely to hear that. You're always welcome to compliment me, by the way. Kidding, but thank you so much.